Spartans! What is your profession?
Yo, go deep, episode 85. We got a round table going on right now. This shit is long because we got 4 people. We got the lovely nerd queens. We got my boy Jacob. Damn, what's Jacob's last name? Jacob the Snyder Cut, dude. We got who else? We got Paul Smarmy Pants on here, and we got my dude Brian Kumm. So go deep, episode 85. I'm not gonna talk that much. We're just gonna get into some music, and then I'll throw the interview right after the music. Yeah, bitch.
This a survival story, true ghetto story. This is my story, real ghetto story. Hey, I remember those days when hell was my home, when me and mama bed was a big piece of foam, and me never like bathe and my ear never comb. When mama gonna work, me go street go roam. I remember when Danny them get me snow cone and make him lick up bread of them kick up Jerome. I remember when we visit them with pure big stone, and the boy Danny pop out something we full chrome. I remember when we run, but I get him knee blown, and my best friend Richie get doing I'm down. I remember Sunday Avenue turning a war zone, and Mikey mother fly him out cause she get alone. But Mikey got too foreign and got on Al Capone. Make one leap of money and send me no one. Now we a lot the city and that is well known. Yesterday Mikey called me on my phone. Me say Mikey, we got the thing them out a lot now. Me squeeze 7 and the whole of them I don't know. We have a leap of extra clip cause we no broke now. Hey, we got the thing them so them a feel rate we, cause we a take it I live greatly. I remember about 80 Jamaica explode when a Trinity and Tony you with them a run road. That a long before Leng them an even bigger fold. When Adams them a corporal no know the road code. I remember when we robbed the Chinese shop down the road, and rumor of it said the Chinese man have a soul, but we did have a one pop when make out a boat. So you know the next day mama part to overload. I remember when we stick the poll clerks and dump the ballot box Fanti Valley outskirts and hold a plane ticket and go chill over Turks. When me come back a still in a the whole me a lurks. I remember those days when informer Dirks get 1 in 9 face and me no get no perks. Cause the bigger heads them are a couple of jerks. Cause of them I make the money when we mash the works. But we get the thing them out a lot now. Me squeeze 7 and the whole of them I don't know. We have a leap of extra clip cause we no broke now. Hey, we get the thing them so them a feel rate we. Cause we a take it to them wicked off lately. I know the whole community I live greatly. Jamaica gets through greed and glutton. Politics manipulate and press youth's button. But we're rich now, so them can't tell man nothing. Cause we a make mama yam fish and mutton. Hey, over there so make me tell you no something. Show me they a foreign now a guy kill me cousin. And me here said he did the but him say him wasn't. Anytime me fly down him I get more dozen. Cause we get the thing them out a lot now. We squeeze 7 and the whole of them I don't know. Me have a leap of extra clip cause we not broke now. Hey, we get the thing them so them a feel rate we. Cause we a take it to them wicked off lately. I know the whole community I live greatly. I remember those days when hell was my home. When me and mama bed was a big piece of foam. And me never like bathe and my ear never comb. When mama gonna work me go street or roam. I remember when Danny them take my snow cone and make him lick a bread of them kick up Jerome. I remember when we visit them with pure big stone. And the boy Danny pop out something way full chrome. I remember when we run but I get him knee blown. And my best friend Richie get doing I'm down. I remember Sunday Avenue turning a war zone. And Mikey mother fly him out cause she get alone. But Mikey got too foreign and got on Al Capone. Make one leap of money and say me no I won't know. We all love the city and that is well known. Yesterday Mikey called me on my phone. Me say Mikey
Deep, episode 85. We have a Spartans roundtable today. We have a Spartan that's been missing in action for a little while. We got my homeboy Paul Smarmy Pants. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, what's up, Huey?
Chilling. We also got the general of the Spartans in the background over there being quiet. We got Brian Kumm. How's it going, Brian?
What's going on, Peely?
Yep. And we have the queens, who we have to kiss all of their asses today because they are the only ladies involved. Queens, how y'all doing?
Doing good, Pilly. Alive.
All right, that's cool. And we also got my little daughter, Kimura. She's a baby Spartan. She's in the room too. But y'all can curse, you can do whatever. She's heard it all, whatever. Say hi, Kimura.
Hey, I'm editing, so.
Yeah. All right, so what's on the agenda today? What you guys want to talk about? I guess we're going to knock it over to the queens because their nerd queens are out in Comic-Con right now. So let's give a little rundown. What's going on out there in San Diego, ladies?
Nothing much today because today's just when everyone gets on the plane, but tomorrow is when everything kind of gets started.
Okay. Yeah.
We plan on going to check it out later, maybe, hopefully. But we haven't gotten a chance to get to downtown and see what's going on and what's not going on. But we want to chase down the bus stop.
Chase down the bus stop, yeah, definitely.
Need to have a picture there.
Right.
And get through all the swag that we've got.
Right.
And the billboard, got to see that.
I don't know if we're going to see the billboard. We don't have a car.
That can make it harder.
That could suck.
Yeah, apparently, it's very hard to get to without one.
Right.
It's been suggested to us not to try.
Right. So what? How many Comic Cons is this for you guys?
For San Diego, it's number 4.
Oh shit! Wow.
And this is the second year we're bringing the Snyder Cut movement to Comic Con.
All right, cool. So, do y'all want to speak anything on it, or is it still secretive and we just gotta kind of wait and see?
Well, secret or no secret, what we do know or what we have in store for people is we like to talk to people, obviously. So, whenever you see us, you can find us. We will either be walking around as Ivy and Harley, or we'll have Zack Snyder themed T-shirt.
Cool.
And we are planning a big scavenger hunt.
Cool.
With prizes to give away and
bring awareness to the cut and also to our work with AFSP.
Cool. So check this out. We're gonna put this out tonight. Give everybody, whoever listens to it tonight, give them like some way they can contact you. Maybe they can come around with a car, some food, some champagne, some wine, whatever. Give them a contact.
Hit us up on Twitter. That's basically the best place to find us. We're at the Nerd Queens.
Cool.
Anywhere on social media, we're going to be posting where we are, where to find us.
Cool.
So find us on social media. Twitter's the best, and come and talk, come and chat, or bring that champagne. That's the best.
I personally think Twitter's the worst, but
that's because you decided to quit Twitter until a week ago.
Yeah, well,
despite the fact we all begged you to come back.
Yep.
Yes.
That is a perfect segue. So, Paul, how's it going, man?
Oh, hell, I could complain, but it wouldn't change anything. No, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I think the movement's doing good. I just see a lot of positive signs. I had a friend of mine tell me that we need to follow the Save the Expanse route of doing our thing with the Snyder Cut. And I looked into that and I was like, man, we did all that and 10 times more. Right. So, I don't really think that this is unprecedented in any type of media or entertainment medium for a movement like this. And I think it's awesome. I think we're headed in the right direction. I definitely think Toby Emmerich is out.
Really?
You don't go praising Disney as number one if you're one of their competitors, especially if you're fighting for the CEO job, which he was at the time because that was before Ann got the position. But I think the Snyder Cut may come out, but I'm not really hopeful for the future of DC. Man, if you look at it, nobody wants to touch a Warner Brothers DC property. No director wants to touch it. No one trusts Warner Brothers. They have to get all these no-name directors now to come in because nobody trusts them, especially after Snyder. Dude, when they're gonna hack up Birds of Prey, which I'm not even gonna go into that, or I guess we could, but it sounds really dumb what they had put forward and plotted anyways. But that's gonna get hacked right up with this brand new director, and it's probably the future of WB's DC films. Is they're just gonna be hack and slashes.
Wow, well,
I think if they bring Snyder back in and they make good with him, that might give directors a more sense of security, and they might come back.
Definitely.
Like kind of the Messiah to follow in the DC movies.
I agree.
I mean, that might happen, but everybody is fleeing to Netflix.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, it's not a bad thing, though. Netflix.
No.
Yeah.
No, Netflix is awesome.
Right.
We like our Netflix.
Right, exactly. So let me get it, Brian Kumm. Brian, I hear you're being quiet, I know, but I'm gonna introduce you right now. Brian,
I'm still here.
How's it going, man? What do you think about the movement, the atmosphere, everything going on right now?
I think things are as positive as they've been probably all along. At any high point you look at, I think there's a lot to be optimistic about right now. lot of change, and like Paul's saying, if Toby is out, he's really the only thing that's holding it up at this point.
Right. Right.
I definitely think they need to work on getting their creators, back in the fold. Getting people to understand that they are going to be pushing for, creators' visions. I think releasing the Snyder Cut goes a long way to that. And I also think it's hopeful that they haven't done anything with the slate yet that would overwrite what Snyder was building.
Right. All right, so check this out. Anybody can answer, but give it a second so we don't all beat each other up at once. What about J.J. Abrams coming over? Because he kind of saves he saves Star Wars a little bit. He saves Star Trek. I think, maybe he can. What do you think about him working his magic over at DC?
That would actually be pretty cool. I'm a big fan of what he did with Star Wars.
Right.
It would make a lot of sense, and him and Zach have had, a pretty friendly relationship, it seems.
And let's not forget the fact that J.J. Abrams just finished episode 9, which was written by Chris Terrio.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who left Warner Brothers to go work for Disney.
Yeah.
Because Warner Brothers kept chopping up his scripts and pissing all over him. And if he wrote episode 9 and he worked with J.J. Abrams, they definitely talked, man.
Oh, yeah.
Especially over what happened with Zach. Like, that stuff was so monumentally stupid and big, where they trashed his vision and took advantage of, his daughter's suicide. Right. WB don't look good to anyone right now. Right. And the directors are, like, fleeing from it. So if JJ's going to Warner Brothers, and he's got clout, he's got mad clout, too. Like, he might be able to right the ship because he did it with Star Wars. He had Star Wars Episode 7, which was phenomenal. 8, well, not phenomenal, but I mean, it was a phenomenal reboot, I guess. But it was good. Then you had Rogue One, which I really liked.
I like that too.
Yeah, and then you went to Episode 8, which kind of pissed in everybody's Cheerios, and they intentionally just shit all over the trilogy. The original trilogy, and the backlash was so bad that Rian Johnson still isn't no word about his sequels. And then when Solo came out, it bombed because people had from the backlash from Episode 8. It wasn't a bad film. It wasn't great, but and they corrected course. Disney did what Warner Brothers refuses to do, is they backtracked. They hired J.J. Abrams to come back. And I assure you, he was furious because, like, the dude wrote scripts for 8 and 9 before he left 7.
I agree with Guy.
Yeah.
Sam. I mean, okay, like, what we know about episode...
Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on. My boy Jacob is in here. Hell yeah. Jacob, what's going on, Jacob? How you doing?
I'm good. Also, I'm agree with you, Sam. Well, because, one, J.J. Abrams didn't like what this douchebag named Rian Johnson had completely gave us, like, bad writing and bad, wasted on Mark Hamill's.
Oh, yeah. Complete waste of good talent.
And also, what's stupid is they kind of gave us, like, all of these bad things with these, people who hated Zack Snyder, like, giving these, portrayals. And also, what's bad, they give, like, bad things about, like, these unreliable characters like Rose and a purple head girl.
Laura Dern's character, Emmeline Holdo. See, those characters, they have a lot to offer to the series, but they weren't really expanded on well. And I feel like if those characters were handed to Abrams, it would have been expanded a lot more. We would have gotten more backstory.
Oh,
like, we could have, like, Ray. Is Ray actually the daughter or any relationship?
Well,
no.
We will find out in Episode 9 about her parentage. But, here's another thing. Rian Johnson is a prick. He's not well-liked, except by the studio. Oh, my God. But everyone hates what he did, that worked on the original trilogy. They killed Admiral Akbar off-scene in Episode 8.
Yeah.
One of the most, historically, renowned figures in sci-fi Admiral Akbar dies off screen. Like they did, and like a lot of the actors from those original trilogies felt really slighted by Episode 8 and the way things went down and the way characters were mistreated. And then they, you know, with Admiral Holdo, who was a no-one character from nowhere, how was she like saving people by sacrificing her? It was.
See,
and for the people that play the Star Wars game, the tabletop. That last act by Admiral Holdo, where she used her light speed to blush through the whatever and kill the fleet, completely destroyed all the rules in the Star Wars galaxy. So it just jet all over that too. So good job, Ryan Johnson. I'll be back.
All right. All right. Hold on a second. I want to bring the Nerd Queens back in here. So, somebody just mentioned about her family lineage. Rey. Is Rey not a Jedi? I mean, is Rey not a Kenobi or a Skywalker? Is she just?
I don't know about Kenobi yet, but she's 110% not a Skywalker, not a Solo. That was already retconned by Abrams with the first movie. He has said over and over, stop saying that. It's not happening.
So she may be. Let's say if she's a Kenobi, that still kind of fits the original Star Wars.
That's my favorite theory is that she's a Kenobi. I would love that. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised she was, you know, a lost part of a royalty family. I mean, didn't Kenobi once had like a relationship in the?
Yes. So he was in love with Queen Satine of Mandalore, and I am firmly convinced. It's been my fan theory since Episode 7 that she got pregnant and had a kid before she died, and then Rey is going to be Obi-Wan's granddaughter.
A queen she's going to be. Like, she's like the next line of the royal.
Oh, yeah, especially of the Mandalorians. Dude, they're badasses.
Oh, my God. You're selling me on this fan theory, and if we don't get it, I'm going to be sad.
Yeah,
I'm going to be very sad, too.
Me too. So check this out. I see Brian over there all quiet. Brian, do you like Star Wars, or should we get back to Zack Snyder shit?
No, I love Star Wars.
All right.
But there is a way to wrap it around because we're talking about sort of a broken continuity that we're trying to fix, right?
Right. Oh, you're right. And we're doing that in both. You know, we're doing that in DC as well. You know, I've been drinking, so if I forget my words, y'all just keep on talking for me.
You know, one thing what's so bad about The Last Jedi is that there is a lot of good scenes that were deleted, or should we call butchered in our terms. Is that, okay, we had, you know, Mark Hamill had this grief moment to Mr. Han Solo that died, and when he heard the news, he just grieved in that moment, and we just got some kind of like blue milk crap.
Yeah, the blue milk thing I will never forgive. And I personally really did like The Last Jedi.
Right, okay. So, quick question. Wasn't they doing any offshoot movies like Rogue One? What happened to that? Or did they stop the offshoots?
Yeah, they stopped all the offshoots and changed course of the direction of Star Wars after Solo, because that was the next movie after Episode 8, and it bombs, dude. I'm pretty sure, especially with the reshoots, they lost money on that one.
Well, also Disney's been focusing big time on the shows they'll be offering from their streaming service. Mm-hmm. They haven't even released the streaming service yet, and they've already greenlit their Mandalorian show for a second season.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, seeing that Disney is making a lot of streaming service, such as putting the Disney XD series there too, and plus making mini series of the YouTube of their Star Wars channel. It's like they're just making a lot of, you know, marketing stuff instead of focusing on great shows or focusing on one at a time.
Yeah.
Cash
Exactly.
grab.
It's a cash grab because they're really marketing that stuff towards kids and families.
I don't know.
That's Disney.
And when you look at Galaxy's Edge,
That's just like a multiverse era there. It's like, okay, we're focusing on the Mandalorians, or we're going to focus on the Skywalkers or these royal families or any of these people. We're not going to talk about the origin, but the Black Lightsaber or what really happened between about how did, you know, Anakin's mom got pregnant or who he was with.
The great myth of Anakin's mom.
I have a theory.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'm ready. Bring it.
All right. So she filled a turkey baster full of cum.
Oh my god. This is why we can't have no thing.
Yeah.
She sent it planet to planet through the galaxy, right?
So,
I think, that Star Wars about Princess Leia's new origin story, it's like,
What do you mean the origin story?
well, remember, not the origin story, the mini YouTube video that happened like months ago, like where she says the princess does the rescuing. I mean, this is like the second time they made fun of, Mark Hamill Skywalker.
Well, I mean, they made fun of it in the first ever movie. She turned around and saved the three of them.
Yeah, but that didn't really happen in the original one. And second of all, is that Leia wouldn't be like, I don't know.
Leia would. I've met Carrie Fisher in person. That woman would totally be all about those kind. She'd be like, "Yes, I save your ass." Like, full stop. I am not the damsel. You are.
Let me ask you: are they still catching hell for using the CGI Leia, or have they?
No, they're not using the CGI Leia. What they're doing what they're going to do to finish out her story is they're going to be taking clips that were put on the cutting room floor with the last two films, and they built most of the last film in this trilogy around those clips. So everything will be completely real Carrie Fisher.
All right, gotcha. So
About CGI faces is sometimes there's good ones and bad ones, but sometimes I'm not a big fan with the, like you're doing the whole thing of it. It's just that, okay, the difference about the Lita and, CGI of the Carrie Fisher just feels like, I don't know, like doesn't feel right there. I mean, I get the details look better, but.
Well,
That's why they're CGIing her.
Yeah, Robin Williams said he put it in his will. He never wants to be CGI'd in the future before he died.
Yo.
Yeah, that's a little weird. So, are you guys Spartans or are you the fucking Resistance? Let's get back to DC. Let's get back to Jedi. I mean, not Jedi.
You started this, okay?
I saw Homeboy's tattoo, and he got a Star Wars tattoo, and now we just can't get away from it. All right, there you go. All right. So, Zack Snyder, he started shooting the zombie movie today, right? What do you guys think?
I'm stoked. It's not a regular zombie movie because those are kind of boring to me. Except 28 Days Later, that was phenomenal.
The thing about him making zombie movies is that he has like logic reasons how to make them to be there, like to be logical reasons to there. Like the mall, like for example, the mall was just one for like Arkham Asylum, and also it's Arkham Asylum, and also this one feels like it's gonna be like Batman Arkham City. Las Vegas would be like a huge world of it.
Right. Remember,
plus that some places in some cities might be a fort, a bigger fort for themselves.
Right. Remember in the Snyder Cut and in Suicide Squad, when those guys turned into either parademons or those bubblehead people, they were zombies at first, and they said it was too scary to do that. So they kind of switched.
Oh yeah, that it was like Cocoon, I would say. It was like the reference to the movie called the Body Snatchers film.
Right,
and
right.
It's like, okay, what's so funny about that scene? This is like exactly how my friend named John King. Well, he said this when Zack Snyder was making all his Justice League original version, but WB don't want this because it was too scary, but he changed it. And then later on, 5 months later, his daughter died. Like, right. Just like how this, how the movement, how this became like the thing you made Justice League into. The DNA of the artistic artwork and the idea of the suicide prevention.
Right.
You just combined the monster of your own.
Right.
Of how you abused it. And if Heath Ledger knew about you just butcher his scenes and you just did this for your checks, I'm like, wow. you're no different how you just got rid of, you did not put a memorial thing.
Right. No, you hit a good point just now with the suicide prevention, because it just came out that the fandom raised over like $106,000, right? Somebody, yeah, you're right, and they call us toxic, but I don't think that has ever been done before, right? Is it?
Never.
It hasn't.
Right.
All that that rehired James Gunn happened with the billboard, but
they did that without raising money for charity. They just did that by raising money for the billboard, and boom, they got what they wanted.
Right.
Yeah, but it's just hypocrisy. Like, we did the plane thing, and we did a lot of things for suicide. We donated for the money for suicide.
Right. So check this out, Brian. I gotta get you in here.
Okay.
That fucking Epstein shit is getting crazy, man. You're the guy who I talked to about it. Does anybody object us hitting on that subject real fast?
You know what happened?
You want to tackle it a little bit, Brian, or you want me to jump on it?
You can take it.
All right, so we have.
I'll jump in.
All right, I'm gonna jump off the top ropes and hit somebody with an elbow, and then I'll tag you in, and you finish them off. So we had this, the Jeffrey Epstein thing, and it went down where he's, been caught for like human trafficking or blah blah blah. But there has been some information coming out about the stuff that he funds, the projects that he funds, and it's really not sex trafficking. It's like a lot of brain work and a lot of brain experiments, and it's like he's finding people that nobody cares about, and he's funding these brain experiments on them where, like when you say your cell phone read your mind, and it could understand what you're saying and give you an ad or anything like that. Epstein is kind of connected to that, but what's even crazier is kind of connected to Nexium and Warner Brothers at the same time. So it kind of all happened. It kind of all went down during the Justice League. Brian, tag team, what's up?
It's a pretty good overview. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of overlap between politics and entertainment and intelligence.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I think an artist like Zach really taps into what's going on collectively in the culture. I think there's just high-level artists like that can tap into like what's happening and what people are experiencing.
Right.
And I think he's one of them. I mean, you look at any one of his movies, it's what we always go back to. It's why we can watch his films over and over again.
Right.
And he says all this stuff in the films, and it's what makes his art so it's more than entertainment,
Right. What do you guys think? Anybody want to tag team on Brian, or are we gonna leave that subject alone and move to the next?
Well, all I can say is that I pretty much agree with the whole thing of Zach making films that kind of cover the situation as it is. Like for me personally, for example, Watchmen is something that, especially today when you watch it, it kind of like hits you that this is not supposed to be something you relate to at this time, but you do.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct. So
It's kind of scary.
So we I guess that was gonna lead me into the fandom, because I personally think a lot of these people are in the fandom also, and they kind of, come in and throw us off track a little bit. We got
Sure.
We got today Comic-Con is kind of getting ramped up. You got Zack Snyder starting shooting today, and then you got some dude on fucking Twitter that's pulling up shit from like a month ago to try to get us riled up again. I think some of that shit is going on in the fandom. What do you guys think?
I think that some members of the fandom tend to be a bit, I don't know how to say it, maybe a bit
egotistical
in a way. Like they like to dig into things. Sometimes it's better to just let things be, because these people who keep coming back with the old things and try to dig up the old stuff and try to kind of dig deeper and deeper and deeper, they do it because they can, because we allow them to.
Wow, right.
Yep,
And
that's a good point.
It's just like, somebody comes back and brings back something that happened a month ago or say half a year ago.
Right.
And we just, not all of us obviously, but some of us are quite quick to jump in and defend.
Right.
And the more we defend, the more they dig. And it just becomes this big situation that shouldn't have even started.
Right.
And maybe sometimes with these things that just come from the past, not obviously every time, but sometimes it would be wiser to just let it go, because these people who come with them, they just come for attention.
Right.
You're right.
Yep.
See, I need to learn that what you just said. I need to get that, because I always wake up and I'm like, what the fuck? And I just want to slap somebody. But then I listen to what you say and I'm like, she's right, she just...
You know what, to be fair, I think we are all guilty of it at some point. Like, we've done it too. Everybody has done it. We're just...
I'm a hothead.
Yeah, I mean, this duo is mostly of me coming to the room being like, Cole, what are you doing? Nothing. But they really pissed me off.
Right.
What are you doing? Nothing, I swear.
And see, this right here, that reasoning is why I don't have Twitter on my phone.
When you
Maybe that's
say that, this makes it how the entire world's becoming into a flame war or war zone everywhere. Like, people are like debating this is true or false, but this is like, are we gonna be in a cycle of the Twitter bull crap? It's like,
we also gotta remember that Twitter is full of people who are heroes behind the screen, but that's
keyboard
where it
warriors.
Right.
Oh man, I would love to meet some of them. I would just love to meet them.
Me too.
They would
Face to face.
you.
Just once.
I remember Abdul used to say that all the time, but I never, when y'all were going in Twitter wars maybe last year, I wasn't involved in that shit because I thought Twitter was whack. I never really got into it. I had a Twitter page, but I never really looked at it. So I remember Abdul used to always talk shit. He was like, man, these Twitter wars, fuck these guys. And then I'm like, damn, what am I missing on Twitter? But now I jump in it and I'm like, man, fuck Twitter, dog. I hate that shit.
Dude, and that's the thing. I think Abdul actually just started another Twitter account again.
Right. He used to talk shit about it a lot, and I never knew really what he was talking about, but now I 100% see. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just the thing. You see on Twitter, you see all this criticism and stuff, but whenever we talk to people who went to conventions and started talking to people about Snyder Cut, or even from our own experience, like last year when we did the t-shirt handout, we haven't met anybody who would be in any way negative towards us.
Right.
If people didn't care, they would just pass by and they wouldn't say a word. We did not come across a single negative reaction from people regarding this. So it's like everybody, it seems you open the Twitter and you see people being just hiding behind the keyboard. But then the conventions, maybe it's the atmosphere of the convention, because from my own experience, Comic-Cons are a great place and it's different, it's very friendly, it's very family-like, but it's just the negative isn't there.
Right.
And that's because most people aren't on Twitter.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
Well, it's like I think the most beautiful thing about last year's t-shirt project was once we yelled out, okay, who wants a t-shirt, show their love for Zack Snyder, it suddenly, not only did people come for shirts, but it suddenly started this, just mile worth of people chatting about what they love about Zack or telling other people about Zack and his work. But if we go into Twitter and talk about stuff like that, there's always going to be a fight.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody who's going to come in and be like, oh, you guys did this wrong, or Zack did this wrong. And it's just like...
That's my favorite thing, is when people criticize other people that are, in the movement, actually doing shit, and other people that are on Twitter, on their phones, sipping their latte on their way home from work, having done nothing, start to criticize everybody that did Project Comic-Con and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, y'all suck.
Right. And that, like, today, that's a perfect example. Homeboy was like, yo, they're just using you. And I'm like, fuck, what are they using me for? So we can get out the movie? Yeah, so we're in a mutual usury agreement then. If that's what it is, I'm using them too. If we just got to get out the movie, then that's what it's about. It's a movement. I'm not having sex with anybody. I'm not giving any money, or I'm not doing anything like that. But it seems like people come on Twitter and just be angry. Instead of, like, if you see these people in person, I doubt they say any of that shit, dog, you know?
None of them would.
I think they come to Twitter to just complain, to kind of get rid of all the bad stuff that they built up over the course of the day or week or whatever. They just come in and they criticize.
Right.
And it's like, here we are. We're just trying to, help. We're fighting for good. And we're in no way political. We are in no way, like, we literally focus on one thing. Well, one thing. Okay, two things. Attention and artistic integrity. But it's just like, it's pretty straightforward. There's really no other thing to it. But then somebody comes in and says, well, Flint doesn't have water. Why aren't you guys fighting for that? I'm like, why?
Whenever people bring that up, I feel like saying to them, then why weren't you raising money for Flint when you guys went and bought that?
Exactly.
For getting back James Gunn. It's like, you guys aren't special.
Right. People, I saw that today. Film Gob shared it, and they're like, you know, you guys have been talking about Snyder Cut for 2 years. Why aren't you raising money for Flint? And I'm like, bitch, why aren't you raising money for Flint? You know, like, we can do one thing at a time, you know? Hold on, let me get Brian, because Brian is not on Twitter. Maybe you can tell me why you're not on Twitter. What's going on, Brian?
Because he's smarter than all of us.
I often think I should get a Twitter, and then I go on and take a look. I mean, everything you guys are saying is right, and it kind of comes down to, like, what the movement really is about, because, like, we all say it's about artistic integrity and about the freedom of expression and everything, and that's what Twitter is kind of supposed to be about.
What you were saying again? My bad, I fucked it up.
From the top?
Yeah, go ahead from the top. That's my daughter in the background.
All right, so I often think I should get a Twitter, but then, you know, I kind of look and see what's there, and, you know, it seems like a good forum, you know, to express yourself, which is what the movement's supposed to be about, is expressing yourself, or, you know, artistic integrity.
Right.
But it seems like the thing that goes wrong within the movement is when people attach their own ego to the cause, rather than, you know, what we're trying to do, the things we're trying to accomplish, and a really just standing for artistic expression.
Right.
And it seems, you know, even though Twitter seems like it should be like a good forum for that, it usually just ends up kind of deteriorating into kind of these ego argument kind of things. Right.
So check this out, guys. I'm like 1 year behind on the Twitter war and Vero and all this, so I don't know. Why do the Spartans have so much beef? What happened? Where did that start?
What are you meaning in the group itself? Or
No. I mean outside of the group, like within Twitter, you know, like.
We don't know.
Possibly they just think we're just, you know, like people who, like, you know, say that, you know, BVS sucked, Man of Steel sucked, and also they say that, you know, like the Collider keeps using us, like, as, you know, like some kind of dumb fandom who cares about BVS that was great film, and also they just keep on with this bullcrap saying, you know, BVS, you know, the Death of Superman did not make anybody cry, or other Marvel films made them cry. And here I'm like, you really had to bring up BVS, you know, the idea it sucked when, you keep saying, for let go of the Snyder Cut. I'm like, am I living into a universe where you just said that?
Right.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. It's like all of the beefs online between the Spartans and anyone else. It's really got to do with. It goes back to the Marvel versus DC war. Most fans are threatened by DC being even remotely good.
Right.
And so they did. And once it came down to the Snyder Cut, they saw that we were creating this movement that was doing good things, that we were getting publicity, even if it was small at first, and it threatened them. And for some reason, there are people in this godforsaken world who decide to just make it their daily career to bitch about everything.
I agree.
No,
Like if
they say Martha sucked.
if you're not wallpapering your room in Marvel, or you're not like walking around in your Spider-Man underpants every day, then you're not good enough for them.
Right.
If you like DC or whatever, you know.
Right.
I find it really ridiculous in a way that any time that we run out of, not we, but like as in
A group.
not as in a group, but as in like people in general run out of arguments about why not release the Snyder Cut, why not want it. It always comes down to, well, but Marvel is better. And it's just like, why?
I think Marvel sucks. It's one formula
Yeah.
22 times.
But you know what? It like at the end of the day, it, like to me, because there are films from Marvel that I enjoy, and there are films from Marvel that I absolutely hate. Anyway, but the point is that for me, Marvel is something completely different than DC as far as cinematic universes go. It
should be.
When I go to see Marvel film, I go for something different than I would go for if I went to see Zack Snyder's DC universe, because it just is different in everything.
Right.
From how heavy the topic is, everything, and there's nothing wrong with it. But
Right.
I don't see the reason why we should compare. There is really no way to compare these two because they are so vastly different as far as the cinematic universes go.
But then, seeing about, don't understand, like, if you're going to be so against, about DC films, like, it sucks, and also you're going to be bitching again and again with, about DC films are just not superior as Marvel films, I'm like this, like, you're getting all the facts wrong. Like, for example, you think that Marvel MCU films were the first connected cinema when, the Universal Studio films such as Monsters didn't need separated, made their own first crossover with a bunch of monster films and also a bunch of iconic monsters. And stupid they say, that, they keep bashing us with a bunch of dumb facts and incomplete facts or fabricated facts so they could make their own ways to profit against us. Like, okay, for what's it called? Collider keeps up being the dumbest website I've ever seen in my life.
Right. I agree. And I think it's like they said it, the Queen said it is like Marvel versus DC because Zack Snyder was kind of catching hell before the DCEU, and also that Green Lantern movie was kind of catching hell before Zack Snyder made it there. So it's just like no matter what they do, they can make a great movie like Man of Steel or they can make Green Lantern and they're still going to catch shit. And I just want to know where that's coming from,
It's just because they don't want to be threatened. They don't want their perfect little... Marvel has, like Paul was saying, has created this formula and they spoon-feed the same story over and over, and they could do little pinches to make you think it's different. And then someone like Zach comes along who dares step in the superhero genre and decides to delve deeper into what these characters really mean and like who they are as characters and people and what they mean to other people. And suddenly, like, if you have to think too hard when you go to the cinema, suddenly that means it's a bad movie.
Right.
But at the end of the day, this is just feeding mainly the studio. I mean, Disney's cashing big time on it. And, honestly, all this like this whole fight, Marvel versus DC, it's just helping them. It's not helping the fandoms. It's not helping us ultimately to gain anything. Because, I mean, if we look a couple years back, well, a couple decades now, thankfully, that there were no films like this.
Right.
We didn't have
There
them.
weren't.
And that's kind of the problem.
And we just got spoiled. And now we are fighting over what's better and what's not. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't criticize a film if you think that it's bad. No, definitely not. You can do constructive criticism on every film. What I think is the problem is that the fandoms just started clashing and fighting and ugly fighting against each other. And all it does, it just gets money to the one studio, and that's it. One studio is profiting big money, big cash on set of films, and that's it. And people hate each other on internet. That's it. Because we can't come together and sort of, work like human beings.
That's one of the big reasons I also left Facebook. Like, first of all, if you're a Zack Snyder fan in the DC rooms, be prepared for hate. And
Yeah.
if you're a DC fan or a Marvel fans, and like, I don't even know where the DC Marvel like hatred came from, because like if you look at the original artists back in the 60s and 70s and 50s when they were creating these characters, they were jumping back and forth between Marvel and DC because they were across the street from each other.
Right.
And so the artists from week to week would create new characters that were exact replicas of ones that the other one had, because they also created that one. And so, like, it's a really dumb thing for people. I've never understood that myself. I'll criticize the films. I love Marvel comics. I hate the movies.
Right.
But I'll read the comics all day.
Right.
It's just, man, the way they spin the movies,
I think the way the comics are, it's like they're allowed to have different identities between the two companies.
Yeah.
Comics. But something spilled over into the features where there's an expectation that all the superhero movies all, go by the same tropes and hit all the same beats, and
there's that garbage, and then especially with Warner Brothers, because they've owned DC since the 80s or some trash like that.
Right.
70s, whatever. They don't. It's an intellectual property. They don't know what to do with.
No, they don't
control it, and like. The WB execs, like that was the big thing Christopher McQuarrie was saying, hell no, I would never go do another DC film again for as long as I live. Like, damn, bro. Like, but that's the way most creatives feel, is because WB, they want to find their Feige per se, and they thought they had it with Jeff Johns when he stabbed Zack Snyder in the back and ruined Justice League. But like those things don't happen naturally. You build that through a system, and WB execs have their own horrible ideas they want to implement into superhero movies, and directors are just running away from Warner Brothers. Like, they are losing talent left and right.
Right.
The thing about, what I disliked about the W executives, is they're all just, trying to be like, oh, we think we should do this kind of. Then later when this happened, they just panic on a dumb button. Like, what reason are you going to be panicking about?
Right.
Like, are you just, like, for example, if they weren't, doing, like, okay, if the critics want the 1978 Superman films, but they just, like, panicked, like, oh, we should do it. Like, when Zack Snyder did the, references of the 1970s of the first two Superman films, he's not, like, doing, like, some dumb rehash. He's just referencing of the Easter eggs and stuff.
Right. He's not doing it for to play on the nostalgia of it. He'll actually pay real tribute to it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, he had old man Jimmy Olsen to play as
right.
officer, and he also made looks like things never changed between this Jimmy Olsen, neither old or middle aged or young.
Right.
I mean, like this one, he's contributing about how he was back then, like treating Lois respect and been giving her rides and being the escort.
Right.
You're right. And it's like Paul was saying, they don't know what to do with the IP because they don't really understand the IP.
Right.
They don't understand these characters and the stories in the deep way that we look at it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I dislike what they're doing right now. Just like you're just going to random stuff. Like, where is this, film gonna go through? I mean, it's just gonna be their part of the story arc, but is this gonna go farther? Like, is it gonna be Justice League 2 or some kind of new, world or something? Like, if you're gonna do DC World, why don't you make Convergence film instead of, just going to random? I mean, for Convergence, I think it would be a good idea to go with the Convergence, storyline. Because the Convergence is like all about multiple DC worlds, and Brainiac is just wants to steal multiple cities that's not in one universe but multiple universes.
Right.
Just like, are you just gonna be going to random juggling, or are you just gonna be in a straight line? Because that doesn't make sense. Like, if you're gonna have these limited actors, this is like it's like WB is becoming into a snake pit of creativity instead of Netflix is just like firing up a lot of stuff.
Right. Well, think about what Brian just said. I don't think they really understand what they have, because, like, remember at Comic-Con when they just released like a few words and it was like, remember, I'm the only guy that beat you. That was like a Dark Knight Returns quote, and the whole crowd went crazy because they knew that was Batman talking to Superman, So then it was like, Zack Snyder, he did a lot of the Dark Knight Returns in that movie BVS, but it's so much more greater stories that they could come out with instead of, like Red Tails and, all this other. That reminds me, what do you guys think about that Joker movie coming out? Because I'm getting mixed reactions. Some people saying it's going to be the greatest thing ever, and some people saying they're going to boycott it. What do you think about Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
I'm seeing it. I think it looks fantastic. And there's one theory my little brother has had about all these different Jokers in the DCU. It's like whether or not they're all connected. And if they are connected, there's the whole Three Jokers plot from the comics that my brother keeps going back to. That's really compelling. And in the Three Jokers are different aspects of what makes this character like the great villain he is. Right. And I'm just excited to see Joaquin Phoenix exploring a different kind of Joker, because just like Jared Leto's Joker, he's one we haven't seen before.
Correct. What do you think, Brian? You gonna go watch it?
Did we lose him?
Has Brian disappeared? I don't know. No,
I think we lost him.
He's right there, but his thing is frozen. He probably popped back in. But I remember, Paul, you were saying you're going to not see Joker, right?
Nope, boycott. I'm not seeing any Warner Brothers product until they release the Snyder Cut. I don't care. I will illegally download it. And here's the thing. I think it's probably going to be a really good, like, dark film. But I kind of want it to bomb because I hate Diane Nelson, and that was her pet project. And I hope everything she ever does for the rest of her life is an absolute and abject failure.
Damn.
But, that's just how I feel.
They can really twist that on Twitter and say you're sexist and all kind of shit.
We're female. We don't see that as sexist. Just to endorse that in case.
Yeah, no, I'm just fucking.
I'm sure they could, but whatever. That movie. And here's the thing: I don't see anyone outside of DC fans that are actually like we would understand it pretty well. Pretty much, I think any real good DC fan would. But outside the DC fandom, a lot of people are just like, man, that movie looks weird, and I don't think it's going to get a huge reception like people think it is.
Right.
I think it'll get critical acclaim, but it won't get a huge reception.
You're seeing it, aren't you, Nana?
Yeah,
I'm very interested in seeing the Joker film because, Joker is a multiverse character. I mean, he's not even the same thing. Like, for example, when we watched The Dark Knight versus Batman 1989, okay, they're both different in their own aspects. Like, we never knew about the origin in The Dark Knight, about who is this guy and who's his real name, but we never get that. But we just seeing his actions in the film. When Jack Nicholson managed to show his origin story, I mean, the Team Joker films, it's like they're all different, their own aspects of multiverse.
Right. I think I want to see it because they're talking about it's going to be a lot about male mental health, and men, we really don't get a chance to open up about our mental health issues You know?
Sorry, for me, it's really interesting about it. That's why I wanted to go see it, because when I first saw the trailer and I heard, the way they spoke of it and all that, I was like, this is something that could be really interesting from the psychological point of view.
Right.
The mental health and all that stuff. Like, it's not the typical, I wouldn't say superhero genre in this case, because there's really no superhero.
Comic book film.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's like, for me, it's more interesting from this point of view, like what's going on.
Right.
I'm really curious about that.
I'm that's why I want to see it too, because that, like, men, we got to hold that shit in a lot of times, and then it might break, it might snap one day, and then it's those years of holding it in when we really didn't have to hold it in. That's what I really want to check this movie out and see.
That's the whole premise of The Killing Joke, isn't it? We're all one bad day away from madness.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, the Teen Joker, he has been the real gangster of them all. I mean, he had his own aspect of being gangster all the years. I mean, the reason I'd rather see the Joker film is because, the shots look amazingly great and well made. Right. Even though it's in a lower budget film, but still, it's like, are we going to be this kind of, being boycotting of this kind of...
Paul and anyone else who wants to boycott that.
Hey, here's my thing. If they release the Snyder Cut, I'll go see an EWB movie again. But if they don't, I won't. It's on WB. And guess what? There's a whole lot of people doing that. If you really want the Snyder Cut out, that's the number one most effective way to do it. Money talks.
Right. They did it with Shazam, obviously.
Yup. And if they come out with a Shazam 2 after that travesty, I don't even know.
They don't understand about Shazam, the endings. It's like, I think the, alternate ending looks way better than the actual one.
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like, I don't know, forced in, like a bad idea. Instead, we could have gone with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers ending way.
I don't know. I loved Shazam. I felt like it was a perfect blending of the comics and what stuff like my dad grew up loving when he was when he was Captain Marvel, and then blending it with modern day stories and whatnot. And I felt like it was just done so artfully. And I went in there expecting a lighthearted film and ended up getting a lot of darkness and stuff that surprised the hell out of me.
Right.
But at the end, there was that one scene at the end that was questionable at best, but I honestly feel like that was done as a tribute. Like, it kind of like, hey, remember, this guy still exists?
Right.
But I personally think Shazam was a great addition to the DCEU, and I cannot wait to see, like, him go up against The Rock as Black Adam. I can't wait to see him meet Superman and Batman and everyone, and, like...
They also didn't break the continuity either.
I think they already greenlit part 2, didn't they? Because The Rock...
Oh yeah, The Rock announced that within, like, minutes of getting it greenlit.
Right. Hold on, my daughter wants to say something. She's a Spartan, so I'm going to give her a moment. She's seen Shazam and blah, blah, blah. What's up, Kimura?
Okay, so, being a kid, Shazam was... Being a kid, Shazam was really cool. I think I just thought it was amazing, because movies are just amazing to kids, apparently. But going more deeper into what I honestly think Shazam is like to me, I feel like it wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. It kind of looked not like a Warner Brothers movie in a way. It kind of looked a little bit more rushed, or maybe a little bit more childish, like a more Disney movie than a DC movie. In my
Did you like the Disney part about it?
I mean, yeah. I feel like if you're gonna make Disney movies, like, leave that to Disney.
Right. So. All right. Thanks a lot, Kimura. See you later, Kimura.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep editing.
All right, back to editing, Kimura. So I took all my kids and they liked the movie. I think I maybe drank too much and I fell asleep on the end, so that's that. But I know they have greenlit the movie, and having The Rock in part 2, I think he's like a walking $1 billion. So it's gonna be, you know what I mean? It's gonna make money just because he's in there, right?
Yeah, if he's the one in it. I mean, it's been greenlit, but I feel like they should have done a Black Adam origin story first.
Okay.
I think that was the original idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, but well, here's the thing, like, The Rock has been going back and forth because Kevin Feige reached out to The Rock because The Rock's supposed to. He signed the Black Adam in what, like 2012 or something, or 2014 or something.
I think it was 2017 when Jeff Johns was still in office.
No,
it was before 17.
It was when Zach was still attached.
Yeah, it was before 17.
And so it was well before. It was like 2015 maybe. I don't know, but like it's been years, and not a single thing has happened for him. So Kevin Feige reached out to The Rock, and The Rock was pretty receptive. So that's the reason that they went so fast to greenlight Shazam too, is because The Rock was going to walk away from DC and go to Marvel.
Which they need to get it together and figure out how to move forward and how to get creative people back into the creative positions.
And the number one way they're going to do that is if they release the Snyder Cut and endorse it. It's a creative film. Everyone knows what a travesty was done to that film. Everyone in the industry, and no director wants to work for that company.
Right.
They're getting startup directors, and all the big name people, they're leaving, except for J.J. Abrams. So if J.J. can pull DC around, I think that could be like a factor, because Bad Robot is over there at Warner Brothers now. So, and he just left Disney for Warner Brothers, and I think it was a 10-year deal.
What about?
So
didn't Steven Spielberg have some shit going on over there, like Red Tails or something?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to Steven Spielberg in quite a while. The last thing I remember about him was he was pushing to say that Netflix films should never be allowed to get awards or whatever.
Right,
and Ben Affleck came out the day after that and said Netflix is the future of Hollywood.
Right, I remember.
I was like, oh, that's great.
I'm like, dude, Mr. Spielberg, like, you're being against, Netflix, but you're working on Apple Plus.
Right.
I'm like,
same thing.
Are you a hypocrite about the stream?
He's just trying to be a gatekeeper. That's it. He's promoting a business model over creativity.
Oh wow! So
That's what it boiled down to.
Check this out.
Way to go, Steven Spielberg. That's what happens when you get old and powerful.
The only place I would say DC needs to go to is Netflix, other than their streaming service called the DC Universe app, or go to HBO Max, since they're not going to release the Snyder Cut there.
Everybody's going streaming, man.
They should release the Snyder Cut on DC Universe, though. That thing is amazing.
Right.
And can only go up.
Right.
I don't know, because
And they could, for example, allow it in Europe or something, for us less fortunate.
Right.
So,
Well, hey, I gotta bounce off here, but I'll talk to the rest of you soon. It was a great roundtable. Thanks, Peely.
hey, no problem. Hey,
Good talking to you, Paul. Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye.
so yeah, we're pushing an hour right now, and this is bye. So I want everybody to give some shout outs, because this is when my little recorder thing start Xing you guys out. So give some shouts out. We're like at an hour right now. We're gonna start with Brian Kumm, because he's been the quietest on the show today. Say
I
hi.
dropped out there for a while. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we saw that. We were talking to you and you never replied.
Sorry, my phone died.
All right, so tell everybody hi, and give some shout outs before we wrap it up, and I'll edit this up tonight, and I'll have something out tonight.
It was good talking to you all. Obviously, PLE, thanks for having us. It's always good talking to you.
No problem.
Queens, best of luck at Comic-Con this weekend.
Thank
Thank you for all you're doing. Can you get the screwdriver out of my face? Sorry, he's acting up a little bit. Shout out the flashback, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Queens, take it away. What do you got to say?
Well, thanks for letting us join you today, and just follow the Schneider Cut movement on Twitter to
Follow
keep up with
us.
everything that's going on this weekend. And
Yes.
as for a shout out to someone who's not even in the room, to Mick D, who's been handling all of this stuff. He is the general. He is the man who's got this all going. So, of course,
Also to everybody in the Project Comic Con,
and to Ramesh, the two people who have really made this possible. So if you guys are listening to this, we love you.
Oh yeah! Big shouts out to
anyway,
Mick D.
follow us at Nerd Queens. We'll be keeping in touch everywhere on social media, letting you know what's going on.
Right. Is hold on, Nerd Queens, real quick. Is Koj gonna meet up with you guys?
Yes.
He's coming to visit. Yes.
Koj, I know you're listening. Bring my homegirl some champagne. They also want some strawberries and probably some McDonald's, maybe.
We won't argue with any of that.
Yeah.
Koj, hook my girls up. Koj always sends me gifts. Like, once a month, he'll send me something. So I know he's going to take care of you when he shows up. Koj, if you're listening, bring my girl something nice. All right. Jacob, take it away, bro. It's on you.
A shout out for the Nerd Queens for going to Comic-Con and Koj for going to Comic-Con too.
Yep.
And make sure to share some stories and share some of the info about the Snyder Cut movement. And plus, hope you have good there on Saturday and take some pics for the cut, please.
Right.
And also a shout out for Gabriel Ramsey, who couldn't be here.
Right.
And I hope he's listening. And shout out for you, Philly. And shout out for you, Brian.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I want to shout out all of you for coming on today. It was crazy on Twitter today, but we came in and we were all cordial and cool and nobody talked shit, and I appreciate that. Whoever's listening, and if you're in the San Diego area, go take care of my girls, and they need all the gifts you can imagine sent to their hotel room right now. That's about it. But I appreciate all you guys from coming on. I'll have this up tonight. It'll probably be I'll edit. It'll take me about an hour or so, 8, 9, 10. It'll probably be about 11 o'clock posted Eastern Standard Time.
Wow.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Love you guys.
Take care, guys.
Much
Release
love.
the Snyder Cut.
Hell yeah, release the Snyder Cut.
The Snyder Cut.
Damn right, you Spartans. See y'all later.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.